Welcome to True to Blueprint with Dawn Marie Sargent. I am today going to talk about those fabulous games that we played. The game against Montreal was it just felt good. Didn't it feel good? We just shut them out. They couldn't do anything. No puck for you. They really were totally ineffective. I don't think Thomas Buchanan got to put on the clinic I think he would have liked to, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Buchanan doesn't go back to Montreal. I know we're renting him and all that, like you can own a human being. Don't think so. But anyway, you know, it was just so good to have that game happen last Saturday night. And then we had the game against Nashville. I was so impressed. After losing their composure with Tampa Bay on Tuesday night, they came back against Nashville. They played the whole game. Their compete level, as Mike always says, and it might or might not be a proper form of the verb, but it was excellent. That's right where you want to be. That's the team that can beat anybody, which is worrisome. But I told you, there's more than having the ability to win it all. You also have to have the poise, and you have to have experience in the second season. So let's see. Okay, what's coming up a lot in the wake of these games? Everyone doesn't hate Jake Gardiner as much. Okay, now, all of this is built on the basis of the idea that there's some mystical defenseman out there who can solve all our problems. He'll make every play. Guy never make a mistake, okay? This is in mystical terms. There is actually no one like that. And anyone who's close to that, their team ain't letting them go anywhere. Come on, that's the stuff that people come out to see. The fact is that Jake Gardiner is terrific in this kind of hockey. He's in the upper echelon on our team of people prepared to play this hockey at its highest level, and it is unrelenting. Possession hockey doesn't have moments where things go smooth and flow. Everything is smack, smack, skate, skate, smack, smack, skate, skate. Everybody has to be where they need to be. Everybody. Which is playing without the puck, which is something else I think Jake does. Is he what they call, well, we'll talk about that word, but is he the stud defenseman? Well, without getting into the fact that that word is absolutely meaningless and not even has a good, meaning in the jargon sense. It's just dumb. But anyway, Jake has the skills we need. We have the defense we need. We have extra defensemen. And little Jurgen, I really got to hear somebody else say that, is down on the Marlies too, with Hall and Rosen. Dermott came up. Did anybody expect him to do this? I saw him in the preseason. I mean, I saw that he had, the quick twitch motor skill and all that, but I didn't think he had the decision making. Now he does. I'm very happy with our defense. I wish Connor Carrick was a foot taller. But other than that, this idea of hating Jake is silly. Now, everybody calls it a stud defenseman. I was talking to people on Leafs Nation and Toronto Maple Leafs and TML Talk and all kinds of places on Facebook today. And I was discussing this. Apparently this means a stay-at-home defenseman who is big and physical. But that's not what the word means. The colloquial meaning of stud, not related to farm animals, which is where it comes from, or the 2x4 that holds the wall up, which I had always assumed if we're going to call somebody a stud, it's, 2x4 holds the wall up. Those are very important. But apparently that's not what we're talking about. Then the word stud, according to the dictionary, means a man who has many sexual partners and makes an emphasis on his sexual life. Well, then shouldn't we call women who are great athletes sluts? Imagine a Me Too world where you go around saying, we really need a real slut downhill skier. We need a balance beam artist who is a real slut. Okay? I'm just asking you. I know the men don't mind. But honestly, this is part of the problem. We don't speak the same language. And as someone who does speak man and woman, I can interpret sometimes. Guys don't care. If you whistle at them, if you try to look up their skirt, they love that crap. There's nothing they love more. So when we walk into a room all attractive and stuff, they already feel uncomfortable. We don't have to say a damn word. And we are reacting to things for a new part of society And people aren't ready to handle that. Okay? Some of this has to do with the language. And if people want to use the word stud to mean a defenseman and get it to the point where it's actually slang use means a stay-at-home defenseman. But I say that's not a very adequate thing to call it, is it? I mean, that's more like a sentry, a rampart. These are cool words, okay? Not all of them have beautiful meanings. In fact, both of those can be pretty violent, especially rampart. But honestly, it isn't a terrible thing to consider the words that we use, because they might be causing us little problems of attitude here and there. And I just don't think that's necessary. I know when I worked in hockey in the 70s, if a guy could do whatever I was doing at that time better than me, he got the job. And I understood. I wouldn't understand that necessarily now. But I wouldn't expect the guys to treat me the way I wanted to be treated. I would expect the guys to treat me the way they wanted to treat me. The control I'd have over there is saying, that's not okay. And to be as aggressively confrontational about those things as is necessary. And I never had to hit a guy. However, I found that when I did say those things and men were still trying like whatever, Harvey Weinstein pushing you against the desk or whatever, other men defended me. Because men don't want to see women taken advantage of because they don't have strength in any position. That's something that most men find really upsetting. And so if you continually have to put someone aside, then men will help you. And when you have a hockey team, it's even better. And I've worked in hockey. I've been in rock and roll. You know, you probably noticed the Led Zeppelin words. And there's some, I've talked about it a little bit. I'll talk about it over time. It's my life. It's not, you know, this isn't bio, A-N-E. Dawn Marie Sargent, why the blueprint and why now? That's what's really important, is how I relate to the blueprint now. And in many ways, it has a lot of the same things Led Zeppelin had. It has, you know, symbols and ideas and songs, and there's all kinds of mystical things going on here. But those things are coming from the sociology of it. They're not at all, there's nothing weird. There's nobody's taking advantage of you. Shanahan is not a flim-flam man. He is not a con artist. You are not buying into a trap. This is not what's happening. You are being enchanted by a revolution. And when the biggest professional sports fan base in the world suddenly decides it's going to do things the right way, that right way better include some solid rules. So we start with Mike. Mike is the coach. Mike coaches the team. There are no excuses. Then there's Lou. Lou is the general manager. He makes the deals. He works with the upper group and the lower group, and also has to have a decent relationship with the players. Lou Lamoriello is a no-nonsense guy. He's got the ability to deal with people at every level, but he also knows how to intimidate. And he also knows how to call out to your best self and say, don't you think you could do better than this? Okay, these are the kind of people that the person I was told Brendan Shanahan is would never hire to be around him. He could do nothing but look bad with those people. But if he is, as I suspect, a lot more like me, and he just absorbs everything, you can't help telling everyone that, you know, what we know and why what they know isn't what we know and how what we know is better, which means he and I probably have nothing to talk about. But honestly, that person is putting his whole reputation on the line for this. This isn't going to be funny. He's going to be like, Mussolini will have been treated well after World War II next to what you guys are going to do to Shanahan in Toronto if he's lying. So just realize there aren't too many people who have this kind of boldness. I would never have this kind of boldness. I've said before it was my plan. He stole it. Yeah, whatever. I was told this week it was a group of Toronto fans' plan. It was neither of those things. It was Brendan Shanahan's cumulative experience, and we have similar experiences. Part of that is because of Detroit being more of a Canadian member of the original six than it ever was an American member. And I've lived in all 4 American cities, and I can tell you, you barely know there's a hockey team unless they're a champion. And in Chicago, I barely noticed him winning 3 Stanley Cups. 3! And I was like, talking about a couple years later and said, yeah, they got 2 Stanley Cups. And my husband said, Doug said, 3. And I said, really? Really? 3? Wow. So I don't always know everything, but I do think that people need to perhaps look a little more into the past of these people. Okay, I'm going to go watch the hockey game against Detroit. By the time you see this, we'll probably be well into next week's schedule. But I'm going to try to put these out 2 a week. And I would like to know if there's any other questions that are nagging at you about what the Maple Leafs are doing that might remind you of things that have happened in the past. And I'm going to explain to you why that's different or the same. You know, I want you to make points for me. Okay, and if you have something to say about my opinion, please just tell me, and I'll respond to it, or I'll say, hey, your opinion, my opinion, let it stand. So let's interact. I'm on Leafs, in Leafs Nation, and Real Leaf fans, and B-Leaf, and the Toronto Maple Leafs Nation, and Leafs, I'm on these groups in Facebook, and I'm around all the time, and I also will take questions on Facebook. I'm going to have a phone now that I can check my messenger on, and I don't do anything personal on Messenger because it's not private. So, but if you wanted to write things for the show, also the Twitter address, and I'm gonna grow in front of you. I want to thank the people who have given me some really constructive advice, and so we'll have sort of an index of topics now in the description, which I think will help you. And we're working on an opening. Geez, I wonder whose music we're going to... It's all live, man. He was already paid for it. He said it many times to the bootleg community. Good luck saying it to me. Sure, because that's value added to a hockey show, a live Led Zeppelin clip. Who knows how that works? But go ahead, Jimmy. Sue me. You've never gotten the better of me before. I don't know why you'd start now. Anyway, I'm going to go watch hockey, and I'm going to try to get these tighter, but I waited a week and a half between videos. Do you know how much talking I have to save up, in just one day, and then distill it down to 12 or 13 minutes? So, you guys, this is just really a lot of fun, and I hope, you tell your friends, share it, and all that stuff, okay? I'm Dawn Marie Sargent. And I'm just going to be speaking and sticking up for that blueprint because I don't see any flaws in it in terms of hockey, in terms of the NHL, or in terms of my life, which I live kind of by it. So work hard, do good things. I'll be back, okay? I promise.